Alright, so that's the energy we're starting with today. Let's back up and get into what actually happened. Cenat came back to streaming after sitting out for a good few months, and that return was tangled up with all the Streamer University 2 hype that had people refreshing their timelines every day. But here's the thing, the second he went live, a chunk of the internet wasn't hyped. They were critical. The whole complaint boiled down to this. People had been told Kai was on some growth arc, reading, building his brand, moving different. And when he popped back on stream, folks felt like they got the same Kai they left behind, not the upgraded version they were promised. Now before we get into what Kai actually said, you gotta understand why this apology even happened in the first place. For months, the story around Kai was that he'd leveled up more reading, more focus, building out his vivid clothing line, into his anime bag, the whole new chapter thing people around him were pushing. So when he came back and some of that didn't translate the way fans expected, especially with the fashion pivot, it gave people an easy reason to clown him online. But underneath all that merch talk and comeback chatter was something way more serious. Because in that same stream, Kai brought up his ex, Gigi, and finally addressed something that had been sitting untouched for almost a year. The rumors that she'd allegedly cheated on him with NBA YoungBoy, rumors that reportedly pulled his assistant Bree into the mess too. And this time, Kai wasn't dodging it. Now here's where it gets messy, because that apology did not land the way Kai probably hoped. A lot of people online were quick to point out the timing. Gigi had reportedly been catching heat for close to a year, getting dragged by strangers, by fans, even by people in Kai's own circle, while he was on the other side of it, building a brand and staying quiet. So when the apology finally came, plenty of viewers felt like it was less better late than never and more convenient timing for a comeback. Some even brought up that NBA YoungBoy got painted as the villain in this whole thing without Kai ever stepping in to clear that up in real time. That's why the internet is looking at this sideways. It's not just about whether the apology was sincere, it's about why it took this long to say it out loud. And that's split. Some people calling it accountability, others calling it damage control, is exactly what kept this conversation running. And that criticism didn't stop there, because right after, Kai dropped the news that Streamer University 2 merch was coming, and a good portion of the timeline immediately called it a cash grab. Now, to be fair, Kai's not exactly out here struggling for money, so critics jumping on the money-hungry angle felt like a stretch to some fans. It's also very possible those pieces were just early mock-ups tied to Vivid, his clothing brand, and he was testing the waters before committing to a real drop. That happens all the time in streetwear. But outside of the merch drama, Kai actually made a move worth respecting. He confirmed he's going to be streaming permanently on both YouTube and Twitch, instead of leaning on just one platform. And during that stream, he reportedly pulled over 1 million combined concurrent viewers across both sites, which is a real number no matter how you look at it. Now, some viewers are reading this as Kai simply chasing new growth since he already crossed 1 million subs and doesn't have much left to prove on Twitch. Others think it says something bigger about where Twitch is at right now, especially with how aggressive their ad breaks have gotten lately compared to YouTube. Either way, this dual platform move has people talking. And depending on who you ask, it's either smart business or a quiet sign that Twitch's grip on top streamers isn't as tight as it used to be. So yeah, between the merch backlash, the Gigi apology, and now this hate wall situation, Kai's had a lot thrown at him in one comeback stream. And look, most of that pressure is really tied to everything building up around Streamer University 2, which honestly deserves its own conversation. But at the end of the day, we're still talking about one of the biggest names in streaming right now. Realistically, it's him and Daisho Speed sitting at the top of that conversation, whether people want to admit it or not. So hopefully none of this online noise throws him off. Because when Kai's locked in, the content speaks for itself. We'll see how all of this plays out once Streamer University 2 actually drops in the next few days. But here's the bigger question. Do you think the backlash on Kai is actually fair? Or do you think people are just finding new reasons to pile on a guy who's already at the top? Let me know where you stand in the comments. And if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed, because this Streamer University story is about to get a lot bigger.